Do we know that Jesus always sees us? Does that scare us or does that comfort us? Have you had your daily drip? Welcome back to the Daily Drip podcast, where we create kingdom content that builds community. I'm your host, Aaron Levy, and let's squeeze them scripts for that daily drip. This is season 3. We are in the book of John, and also we're about to release a book on the book of John. The first book was the book of Proverbs, 31 daily drips of wisdom. This book that we're doing on John is 21 daily drips of dialogue. What are we doing? We're taking a chapter every day and we're making that one chapter a devotional. And we take one word, that's the drip, and we talk about it. So can't wait to share that second book with you. And it's so cool because we're doing it on the podcast right now. And we've been in John chapter 1, it seems like forever. But we're about to jump out of John chapter 1 and go to John chapter 2 soon. But there's so many drips here that we want to make sure that we're doing a thorough job squeezing everything we can out of the scripture. So last week, the drip was follow, because remember, we're going in sequential order. Week 6, when you have purpose. Week 7, you follow, because week 8, you'll be able to see. So that is the drip today. See, John chapter 1, starting at verse 43. The next day, Jesus decided to go to Galilee. He found Philip and said to him, "Follow me." Now, Philip was from Bethsaida, the city of Andrew and Peter. Philip found Nathanael and said to him, "We have found him whom Moses in the law and also the prophets wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph." Nathanael said to him, Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" Philip said to him, "Come and see." Jesus saw Nathanael coming toward him and said to him, "Behold, an Israelite indeed, in whom there is no deceit." Nathanael said to him, "How do you know me?" And Jesus said to him, "Before Philip called you, when you were under the fig tree, I saw you." Nathanael answered him, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are King of Israel." Jesus answered him, "Because I said to you, I saw you under the fig tree, do you believe? You will see greater things than these." And he said to him, "Truly, truly, I say to him, you will see heaven open and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man." See, man, there is so much here. Let's just squeeze a little bit out of it. What are we doing here? Remember last week when we were talking about follow? If we go to last week really briefly, let's look at the scriptures that we looked at last week. Verse 38. Jesus turned and saw them following and said to him, "What are you seeking?" And then verse 39, he said to them, "Come and see." So we're seeing Jesus' model of discipleship, because Jesus saw these people and then he said, "Come and follow me." But then look what happens with Philip in verse 45. Now we look at the current drip. Philip found Nathanael and said to him, "We have found him." So this is so beautiful here. It makes me so excited. Jesus sees us and then he changes and transforms our life so we can see others. And that's so cool because Jesus saw us while we were lost and gave us grace, gave us love, and said, "Follow me." If we look at last week, he allowed sinners to follow him. And now when we look at this week, he says in verse 43, "Follow me." So he finds Philip. "Hey, Philip, follow me." And then Philip has a homie named Nathanael and said, "Yo, you got to get in on this." And that is the purpose of discipleship right there. I love it. Now, let's talk about this a little bit, because firstly, Jesus saw you. Jesus saw me before we saw him, right? So Jesus sees the worst about us. All those years and moments that we didn't think or care about Jesus, he thought and cared about us. You know, there's a lot of people that say, "I just felt seen. I felt seen." And what we do sometimes is we pull out our phone and we record something so we can feel seen. You don't have to feel seen when you know you're seen by Jesus. That's what he's trying to get our point across. And then when you already know that you're seen, instead of you trying to get attention to yourself, you bring in others to get attention to Jesus. That's what Philip is doing with Nathanael. But I love the interaction with Philip and Nathanael, because Nathanael is like, bruh, can anything good come from that city? Right? So apparently Nazareth must have been hood. Because if we look at verse 46, Nathanael is being honest. Hey, you're telling me to follow someone, but I got some questions about the city that they from. But then look at verse 46, which is the same as our drip last week. Come and see. See, the last drip, Jesus is telling disciples, come and see. Now, as disciples, the disciple is telling someone new, come and see. That's beautiful. That excites me, because that's all about multiplication. Here's what's dope about Nathanael. Nathanael follows Jesus with questions. That's the faith journey. So I'm going to follow, but I have some questions. I'm a little confused. Nazareth? Jesus? I don't know. But I'm going to follow. And that's why in verse 47, Jesus saw Nathanael and he said to him, behold, an Israelite indeed, in whom there is no deceit. Jesus sees the best in us. See, it's not that he's ignoring the fact that Nathanael dissed his hometown. It's that he's seeing his faith. And though he didn't believe that something good could come out of Nazareth, he has enough faith to follow and see it through. That's brilliant. See, sometimes in our faith journey, we want to wait till somebody has it all together. Well, change your opinion about Nazareth. And then once you change your opinion about Nazareth, no. Jesus said, you know what? I can rock with Nathanael because he keeps it real. He's going to follow me with questions. How do you work that out in your life? So certain things I'm thinking about right now, if I'm inviting somebody to church for the first time, or if somebody's asking me to pray for them, et cetera, I cannot expect them to have the same values as me. But can I see gold in them and how they're treating their current circumstance? Nathanael could have been like, I ain't going to Nazareth. I ain't following nobody from Nazareth. Everybody from Nazareth is weak. No, he had enough faith to follow. For one, do we have enough faith to follow? And for two, do we notice when others have enough faith to follow? Because here's the thing about Jesus. You keep following him, you're going to grow in faith. You see how beautiful this is? So I love this right here, because Jesus is telling Nathanael in verse 48, hey, when you was under the fig tree, when you weren't even thinking about me, I saw you. That's what made Nathanael be like, yo, you're the Son of God. Yo, you're the King of Israel. Like, you saw me when I wasn't even looking for you. And that's the gospel. That's what Jesus has done for all of us. He has seen us when we weren't even looking for him. And here's what's dope about it. Because if we look at verse 50, Jesus is like, man, if you impressed with that, you're going to see so much more. And that's why Jesus can use a Nathanael. Because it doesn't take a big miracle. It doesn't take this big spectacular thing. It just took enough faith to be like, okay, he's from Nazareth. Okay, I'm going to push through that. And then I'm going to believe Jesus when he tells me, hey, you were already on my mind. Now, how do we practice that for this week? Do we know that Jesus always sees us? Does that scare us, or does that comfort us? We can choose for that to comfort us when we want to please Jesus. If we're trying to live life according to whatever we want to do, then it's going to low-key scare us. Oh, he's always watching, he's auditing, or he's always there to help. He was there to help Nathanael. He was there to help Philip. Secondly, who do you need to see this week? We already have that comfort that Jesus sees us. Now, we don't just have that comfort so that all the attention is on us. No. Who can I see this week? Who can you see this week and make a difference in their life? Who can you affirm how Jesus affirmed Nathanael? You don't have to have it all together, but I like your honesty. I like your transparency. I like how you keep it real. Keep following, and you're going to see way better, great things about Jesus. So that's the drip. How do you see Jesus? And then how do you recognize that Jesus always sees you? Then when you recognize that Jesus always sees you, how do you focus on seeing others? So that way you can make a difference, how Philip made a difference in Nathanael's life. Well, that's the drip. Thanks for staying to the end. If this podcast has been a blessing to you, why don't you firstly subscribe? There are over half of you that are watching the content weekly. All you got to do, subscribe. It just doesn't take any effort at all. Click. Every single Monday at 6 a.m. we drop a new drip. We're going to be next week. We're going to be in chapter 2. Finally, we're going to be looking at Jesus' first miracle. I can't wait. I'm not going to talk about it now. But hey, why don't you share this also with somebody that's a blessing to? And if you have any questions, go ahead and comment when we release it. Stay dripping, my friends.